Okay, today's question is Twilight or Harry Potter? Um, I like both to start. I like them for very different reasons. I like Harry Potter because that was the first ever series I got into with the magic and the magical creatures and just the thought of being able to go to Hogwarts and being a wizard and doing potions and whatnot, and that whole fantasy aspect. Um, J.K. Rowling as a writer, I think she does a wonderful job for a certain age group. I think not saying that she can't do books for older people, but she could if she wanted to. But I think the Harry Potter series is more targeted towards middle school age and younger. Not saying that older people like Harry Potter and read it. I'm one of those who started book one when it first came out, and through the years, even before Twilight, I was sucked into those. And then the rumors started about, oh, my kid can't read Harry Potter because I don't want them to learn magic. And that just was stupid. I mean, I just ignored it all because you can't, there's no possible way to pick up magic from any of those books because it's all from her imagination. Now on to Twilight. I love the Twilight series, or saga, however you want to label it. I've read all 4 books, get ready for this, 14 times. I know that's a lot, and I don't care what you think. I just love, I love that romance aspect of this romance series. I mean, what's not to like about a plain girl that thinks she's ordinary and nothing is going to go right for her. She's just going to go to Forks and be normal. Well, and then there's this vampire boy that thinks he's this horrible monster, and by a weird accident, car accidents actually, they actually end up being boyfriend and girlfriend, which I think is a nice combination between mortal and immortal. And I just love the I'll call them the scenes that Stephanie Meyer puts in those 4 books. The first time I actually read Twilight, somebody actually ruined the end, well, not the end of the book, but she's like, well, did James attack Belly? And I'm like, shut up, and she ruined it. And from then on, I'm just like, okay, this part is, whatever. But I'll admit, the first book is slow. Not until, like, chapters 13 through 15 do they really get interesting. Because I think 13 is when they go to the meadow, and then they have the first kiss, and Edward kind of gets a grip on himself, and then 14, I think, is when they meet, Bella goes to meet the Cullens. But those 3 chapters, I think, are the best, and later on in the book, when Edward comes to save the day and goes to the ballet studio, and he doesn't really kill James. He does. He kills James and he saves Bella, and I love that heroic part. There's not much bad to say about Twilight. It probably has its flaws, but I'm such of a fan that I can't really say that, there's something wrong with the series. Except for those Team Jacob fans. I mean, really. Well, I'll agree with some of you. I know. By the end of the fourth book, though, I started to like Jacob a little bit more, but I think if Stephanie introduced him into the first book a little bit earlier, not too early, because Team Edward had to come in there and steal Bella, but I think if she decided to bring him in a little bit early, there would be more of an equal balance between either Jacob or Edward. But in my opinion, I am a full-fledged Edward fan. There's no doubt. I think werewolves in general in this series are so pig-headed and are so juvenile that there's no competition. He verbally insults Bella or harms her somehow, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and he keeps on doing it. That is the one reason that there's a whole bunch of other reasons I don't really like Jacob, but that is one of them. He just keeps on hurting her, and he keeps on saying, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry," and she forgives him, which is kind of not cool, but as I said earlier, I liked him by just a tiny bit more from the end of the fourth book because of, well, for those of you who haven't read them yet, I'm not going to spoil it, but by the end of the fourth book, I kind of liked him better. Now, back onto Harry Potter. Okay, I'm done with Twilight. I got my excitement out and I got my angers out. I think as a writer, as I said before, J.K. Rowling writes for a certain age group, and if you pass that age group, then there's not much going on there. But Stephanie Meyer writes, for any age. I know that there are some guys that are football players and they actually like to read Twilight, which is kind of cool. I like both. It just depends on what the conversation is about. I mean, if it's about vampires and werewolves, then yeah, I'm going to go for Twilight. But if we're talking fantasy-wise and magical doings and beings, then I'll go for Harry Potter. People think that, my opinion is that both books are so good that I can't really fight for one or the other. It just depends on my mood. And the reason I don't really read the Harry Potters anymore is because she stopped after the 7th book. I mean, I wanted to know about Harry Potter's 3 kids, and I wanted that to continue, but she never did. That's why I don't read the books as often as I should, or the movies. So I just want some of your opinions on what you think on this hair-raising subject, Harry Potter or Twilight.